Good afternoon, everyone. We are now entering Mass Matters, Chapter 16, and this is our final chapter in this podcast. And this chapter is called A New Alliance. And I'm much happier today to leave you with a chapter such as this because I know the last two chapters have been a little bit doom and gloom, or just very difficult subject matter that can easily weigh us down. Where the book is really leaving us is that we have a great opportunity right now, not to necessarily look at where we are or where we've been, but let's really look to the future as to where we can be. So we begin, and they talk about in the criticism of clericalism or the institution church, we sometimes get the impression that we maybe don't need priests or we don't need hierarchy. But they really go into that people of goodwill, and when we look at the sense of history, and we do go back and look at history, we are seeking as a people reform, not full rejection. And we're also seeking balance. And we as lay people are looking to have greater input, and we are demanding a greater accountability for the church. Lay people don't necessarily want power, but we want to partner with the church. And I think those are really important words that they're using, because sometimes we know right now with things that we're seeing going on in society, that some people with very strong opinions and the way the media is playing on that it becomes like this overall persona for everyone. And we know that sometimes someone's voice can be very strong, but it really isn't the majority of what people are feeling. So I like the idea of partnering with our church so that we can share ideas, but it's not my way or the highway. That's not where we need to be with this. We do need to be open to what values the church has brought. We need to be open to future conversations with other serious things that are going on in today's society, but we need to partner. And we see really positive things going on in recent church life that the lay people are starting to be more involved with. We're leading Bible studies. There's more contemplation. We have seen some prayer services involving Tazay, which is a very meditative type of, a little more contemporary style of praise through music and prayer. So there's a lot of inspirations in the church coming from laity that want to partner with the church so that the full burden of leading the church doesn't reside on a few. They also warned us about be wary of those who want to reform the church without institutions. The church as an institution, without the institution of the church, it won't make it, and it won't last. History, they cite several historical times where a society without institutions becomes rootless, chaotic, and lacks memory. They state that institutions do have value because they codify and preserve the initial epiphany, the initial experience, and they keep it alive. I think those are really a great way of positive ways to note that. We also, the institution of the church preserves the revelation along with the saints, the prophets who embody it. It supports the symbols, the rituals, the holy places. It nurtures, it teaches theology, and we provide leaders for the people. And we know that if we're just freewheeling and doing our own thing, we've seen this in modern technology where when we are just free and we think that we can do this all on our own, that we can create a better place. And especially in today's world with COVID and things going on, we see polarization. Wow. He wrote this book a couple years ago. What are we seeing now? Polarization, fake news, lies, hackers, foreign interference with our elections. Facebook has come under fire for letting users raid their data, an invasion of privacy. So we know that we are in a very historical time right now. We have seen unprecedented things not only within the church, but within our global world, not just in the United States, but globally. But I do agree. There is a quote in here from Andrew Greeley, and I'd really like to leave this with you. There are several quotes in this chapter that from very revered writers in the Catholic faith, and I can only really pick one of them. But I really liked the way he encapsulated the idea of why we need institutionalized church. So Andrew Greeley writes, "The idea of a pneumatic church is an attractive one and always has been. A handful of dedicated Christians working in a community in almost invisible fashion, exuding goodwill and love, and unconcerned about mundane things such as finance, administration, communication." Boy, this sounds terribly appealing. But even if it were possible for a community of humans to exist without a formal structure, and it is quite impossible, those who would object to a structured church and would prefer a pneumatic one should take the matter up with the founder who wanted his church to be a thoroughly human organization and seemed prepared to accept the fact that in this human organization there would be all kinds of human imperfections. The trouble with angry, alienated revolutionaries is that they can't win. They really don't want to win. They want what Irving Howe calls the kamikaze radicals, who desire to pull down and destroy so that a fresh new start can be made. But they ignore the lessons of history, that real growth is always organic, and that true progress usually comes from reforms of existing structures rather than from the creation of brand new ones. And I'm going to leave you with this thought. Growth is always organic. True progress usually comes from reforms of existing structures rather than the creation of brand new ones. We leave you with hope. We know that the church has been with us for over 2,000 years. The Catholic Church as we know it in the Roman Catholic Church is continuing to exist. Have there been messy times? Yes. Will there be messy times? Yes. We are human, but we need to approach from an organic approach. We can be catalysts of change if we are willing to do this in a respectful way with and through each other. We need to remember it's not my way or the highway. We have seen reform and change through church throughout the ages. We will continue to see reform and change throughout the church in the future. But thank God we still have the Catholic Church that provides us with this community and this faith and this life-giving ability to come together and to worship under a roof in one mind. So thank you for the 16 weeks of staying with me through this book study. If you have not purchased a copy of Mass Matters, I would encourage you to possibly delve deeper. Go back and read it on your own. I have reread some of the chapters several times, and each time I reread the material, it grows deeper within me. And it really has allowed me to see the church through very different lenses in many areas. But we are a people of hope, and I thank you for your time in this book study. God bless, and thank you for your time.